Learning about agroecology makes much more sense in an agroecological setup. So when we are teaching about nature, we take people, they sit here, they are appreciating, they are eating as you're eating, you know, and that is evidence-based.
Even if we are actually doing things on your own, at your house, like the very fact that someone is able to see and see, this one is doing something differently, and noticing the way how we are able to do it, and I'm actually copying something from that. For me, that also on its own is kind of leading somehow. So I'm actually trying to remove that kind of mindset whereby we are limited in a way that we are looking at leadership as something that you have to be somewhere within the positions where the rest of us are somewhere there. Yeah. That's where the translation to say each one of us is what? Is a leader.
As a good leader, that's where you nature. You influence your nature, because it's not about you, but you're holding the team. Yeah. I hold my hands. This is what a leader does. Let's go together. Yeah. This is an organization. You can be in front of the body. Let's go together. Yes. But if I'm a boss, I'll say, come. Do this. But then I showed them this is how you're supposed to do.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's very important to ask honest questions.
Yeah.
Question, I think, on this whole thing, I think it brought out something that is very profound. You want to win the proposal.
Yes, sir.
And the reason why we want to win the proposal is to make sure that we have something to keep us going.
To survive.
Yes.
To survive.
Yes, so that is also another thing that is also very critical and worth noting as we look at aspects of the principle of trading and 6 steps to doing this. Because again, look at this process. It in a way also helps to self-introspect. Is this the right thing to do? So for me, I think we really need, I don't know, but we really need to, look at this issue critically and maybe, reach to a point where we can have more funding that has unrestricted funds.
Oh. Yes. And this one is very sweet. I want to taste it.
Bring it back.
Imagine walking in an edible driveway whereby you can find papaya, moringa, tree tomatoes, mulberries. These are vegetables, huh?
Yes. Bondwe.
Bondwe, amaranthus. And then integrated pest management, we have marigold, lemongrass. And do you know lemongrass? There are lots of recipes on how you can cook. No. Lemongrass. Yes, you can cook this. You can use this as a spice. Google lemongrass when you go home. You thank me later. So you do this. You can cook with lemongrass. So you remove this one, the hard part, and just grate it. So a lot of people know lemongrass as tea. Yeah. Repellent. But you can cook with this one. The outside is a roundabout. The inside is an outdoor classroom. We believe it makes sense to learn about nature in nature. Learning about trees under a tree makes much more sense because the tree is providing you shade and oxygen. But if you're talking about food systems in a hotel and you're pointing to PowerPoint, it doesn't make any sense. The outside of the roundabout becomes a food forest where we have guava, the passion fruits you're eating. You have the yams, more yams here climbing. These are also native plums. They are called Indian plums. We have cucumbers climbing here. Moringa. You can eat moringa. Moringa is loaded with nutrients. This is where we're doing wetland farming. It's also called floating gardens. A floating garden is also called chinampa. A chinampa is a type of garden whereby you have water flowing around a bed like this one, and then you have crops around on the edge, which we call productive buffer zones in agroecology. So when we say productive buffer zones, it means you're putting a buffer zone to protect pests and diseases attacking this crop from attacking that crop. So this time around we have rice. You can see rice. This is all 7 acres going this side. So we have rice here, and then on the edge of the rice we have sugarcane, and then apart from the sugarcane we have cocoyam. Apart from cocoyam we have bananas. The idea is that we want to stack functions and stack production. We grow food and the food produces flowers. You see?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can grow food which produces flowers instead of growing useless flowers which you can harvest. All these are our staples. So instead of growing maize, we have all these staples, the cocoyam. Yeah, so you can eat the leaves.
The cocoyam leaves.
Yes, the
Like
leaves
a
are.
vegetable.
Yeah,
And also you dig the tubers.
the tubers as well. We want to create as much biomass as we want. That's why now we are bringing in maize, cowpeas, you see pigeon peas in there. The trees are left. So we've left the natural trees and we are combining maize with the natural trees. So where we're going, we have a big piece of land dedicated to maize because we are also multiplying seed and there's high demand on that seed. So we want to multiply that and share or sell. One thing for sure that I believe that these methods worked is that if you talk about African history, we've gone through floods, we've gone through droughts, but then we still talk about traditional seeds surviving that, right? So if you talk about floods, all these seeds have gone through the floods. If you talk about the droughts, all these seeds have gone through the droughts. So we can't talk about hybrid seed without traditional seed, because we have to mix the genes of these seeds to produce the seed that we want. Now 12 months, it's getting old, but now we know it can stay for 12 months and we can keep seed that way. Other seeds were kept in just jars like these. These are passion fruits. So there's so much to uncover from our parents on how they coexisted with nature and how they survived the catastrophes. The agroecology is the application of ecological principles in agriculture production, where we're combining elements of traditional farmers' knowledge with modern science and technology. So what you're focusing on is the application. The application will be different depending on the location, the landscape, the needs, culture. So everything has to be culture acceptable. Everything has to be in relation to the landscape itself. That's why when you look at that driveway and this edible driveway, it'll be a little bit different. Why? Because there are different landscapes, right? So we are dealing with application. How do you apply ecological principles in agriculture production by contextualizing every principle to suit your needs?
Whatever you are doing, just try to link systems.
That one is a custard apple, and beyond there's a soursop, but this one is custard apple. And this one is sour. So you can see the difference in terms of leaves.
Yeah.
This is part of the circular and solidarity economy, how we demonstrate practical circular and solidarity economy by applying ecological principles in commercial systems, food systems. So here we are stocking, when you're talking of agro or biodiversity at the landscape level, being the diversity of let's say plants and animals, when it comes to economics, you talk of economic diversification. So you don't put all the eggs in one basket. So the crops which are being grown on the farm where we're going, we are processing that. So there's the harvesting, processing, packaging, branding, marketing. So it comes in here. So this is the hibiscus, which is high in vitamin A. It adds hemoglobin levels, so that's good for the blood. It's also high in vitamin C. Those who have flu and coughs, it also kills the bacteria that causes tuberculosis. So it's also good for lactating mothers and all that. High blood pressure and sugar, people are also advised to drink this one. So we are packaging this one using ecologically sensitive materials. Because when you're talking of the agro system, being the landscape itself, you are talking of a farm which is ecologically sound, economically viable, and socially justice. So when you're also talking about market, you're also talking about the packaging material or the branding material that doesn't pose any threat on the ecological system. That's why you see we are using organic packages to sell organic food.
And then we also identified the targeted audience as COMESA, SADC, AU, and lawmakers such as the government, because they are the ones who influence policy.
Wonderful.